When you hear the word entrepreneur, what is the first thing that comes in your mind? Do you hear an artist? Don't you usually imagine or think of someone in a suit and with a briefcase and a tie, or both? Entrepreneur embraces so many areas. But what about artists who are going solo and getting paid for their artwork? They're considered as entrepreneurs already. They create while creating opportunities, jobs, culture, products, and services. They help drive our economy. Stay tuned. I'll be speaking with Manisha Jagan shortly.
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas and critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Morning, welcome back to Durian Asia, the voice of discovery and sharing. You're with Grace at the Durian Heat, where we discuss matters and issues around Southeast Asia. And today, we have invited this very multi-talented lady. She's a homegrown lady in Malaysia, and she's a director of M-Talent Asia. Her name is Manisha Jagan, so let's say good morning to her.
Good morning, Grace.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good.
So could you briefly introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Like you said, my name is Manisha. I'm the director of M-Talent. We're a talent management agency where we manage a few talents across different areas, and we also book talents for clients. And we've been doing it for about a year now. Yeah, a year.
Why are you focusing on talent?
Okay, good question. Well, I think it started with a passion because in my past I've worked a lot with people, and I would say like I'm a people person, and I really enjoy bringing the best out of people. Therefore, I chose to invest in people.
Investing in people is really challenging.
It is.
Yeah.
And then another thing is because I chose people in the art industry is because I have a passion also for arts. So I used to go for a lot of events, I still do, that are revolving around art, music, entertainment, fashion. So this is where I've always felt inspired and also want to give back in. Like if I were going to bring something further to another level, I like to bring two things together, which are people and art.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you consider yourself as more like social entrepreneur or just an entrepreneur?
I wouldn't say I'm a social entrepreneur because I think social entrepreneurs also give a lot of back financially. They also give a portion of what they make back to the community or societies, for example, and we don't have that yet. So I can't say that we're a social enterprise. So I would say that we're an enterprise and we need to make profit to run, but we've not yet put anything like CSR or a part of our profit back to the society.
How would you define this entrepreneurship?
Okay.
What have you found?
Well, I wanted to start as actually a freelancer.
Oh, right. Okay, that's a big jump.
Yes, it's a big jump. So I've been in the corporate scene for about like 5 years.
Right.
For about 5 years before I made the jump into doing something on my own.
Exactly.
So when I started, I was actually thinking like, okay, since this is something new that I want to try, is something that I've not necessarily had a lot of direct experience in, I'll say let's freelance. Let's freelance and let's just like work with certain talents that I want to work with, and not necessarily like full on blow out and start a business. But after a while, I think within the first 3 to 4 months, I realized that I really need to start thinking long term if I want to build something for the future and really invest in people, and also to bring the industry to another level. I'd have to start investing, and starting a business is a good vehicle to do so. Then later on we'd have to basically collaborate and get investments to grow even further. But I think jumping and starting a business after like just deciding, okay, let's just try this as a freelancer was a big step. So after I started the business, there was then the entrepreneurship road.
Right.
Where, it's definitely, I think, an up and down journey, an uphill journey. Most of the time it's a real struggle, and also you have to be very driven, I think. So I think that whatever industry that you're in, whether you're art entrepreneur, business entrepreneur, creative entrepreneur, whatever entrepreneur you are, that I think goes across the board, where it's always a challenge to get things started.
So do you agree if I say when it comes to entrepreneurship, a lot of people still think that people are in a suit, the tie with the briefcase. It's just like a businessman.
Yeah.
Art entrepreneurship is really new in this area or industry.
Okay. The first one for entrepreneurship, I think, what would people think when you say entrepreneurship? So I think in this generation, and now in 2016 with social media and everything, and also our generation of being able to do things on your own. I think the generation before us have always strived to tell their kids or their children or their peers, when you've made it, you want to do something. So I think that kind of culture or mindset that has been really in media, like in a capital market and things like that, really encourages people to start. And I think it doesn't matter what you look like or how you dress. Entrepreneurship can come in many different forms.
Right.
I think even starting a small stall by the side of the road, to start to experiment something and to sell something. Like I think kids in the United States always start with lemonade stalls or washing cars for their parents. This is all the seeds of entrepreneurship. So I think entrepreneurship is not restricted to only people in a suit and tie. It can come in many forms.
So moving on to the art entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So for art entrepreneurship, I think for me personally, I think it's a buzzword. It's a buzzword. I think art entrepreneurship actually has existed before the term itself. So the thing is that right now, thankfully, there's been a spur of a lot of creative and artistic based businesses which are driven by passionate and capable people. So they name themselves art entrepreneurs, which I think is not wrong. It's just a term. So I think another example that is probably similar, that's a big buzzword, is probably growth hacking in the tech industry. So I think it's been there before. It's just that nobody has given it a term. So art entrepreneurship to me is a term, and it's been around, and I hope that with the term it just gets people more educated about it. So I think that's good. Anything for the arts and creative is good.
That's great. So going back to your company, M Talent, what's the mission of M Talent?
Okay.
Or objectives of M Talent?
Well, this year we've really wanted to bring more Malaysian talent and talent basically from anywhere that comes and works with us out of Malaysia. Out of Malaysia. So we're looking to actually bring talent to other neighboring countries to expand their horizons. Because it's good to be in Malaysia as well, but I think the sooner we go and swim in the deeper end, we're just going to learn more as well. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is also constantly growing the talent that we have to reach their highest potential. So I think that everyone has very deep potential in them, but with the right amount of support and discipline, right, you can reach your potential, the potential that you desire.
But when you talk about art, it embraces so many areas, from fashion, paintings, music, and even modeling and so on. So what is your forte? What's your main focus there?
Okay. So for right now, I would say our business is defined by the talents that we work with. So currently we have I've managed full-time. I manage three talents at the moment, and they span from the fashion modeling industry to music of jazz, and then we have Priscilla doing singer-songwriter, indie singer-songwriter. So I would say for M Talent, we're not defined by a certain genre or certain area of art, but we're looking at a couple of things because that's where our talents lie. So for me, it's not really depending on what kind of genre or what kind of section of art you do, but it's more on the person itself. So if the person has confidence and has discipline and has the will to actually push themselves forward, I think the same things that we apply to other talents can apply to them too.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, there is a plus point if you have contacts and you have partnerships within those industries, but that always can be built. I think the most important thing is the talents themselves. We're looking also at the people people who probably are more relevant to the scene right now in terms of like social media, you know, and getting themselves out there. That's always also really good. Yeah.
Right. So I've been speaking with Manisha. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Manisha.